This is whole, that is whole. Wholeness arises from wholeness. When you take wholeness from wholeness, what remains is still whole. May peace, peace and more peace be everywhere. All living things are filled with the presence of the divine. Do not claim ownership. Enjoy what is given, but don't covet what belongs to him. Then you can hope to live 100 years fulfilling your responsibilities. No other path will free you from the consequences of your actions despite your pride in this human life. Those who deny their true self are reborn into a life without meaning, blind and lost in darkness. The self is one. Though unmoving, it moves faster than thought. The senses cannot keep up, but the self is always ahead. Though still, it outpaces all. From the self comes the breath of life that animates everything. Though it doesn't move, it moves. It is both distant and close. It exists within everything and beyond everything. How can a wise person, who understands the oneness of life and sees all beings as part of themselves, be confused or sorrowful? The self is present everywhere, without form, without body, whole, pure, wise, all-knowing, radiant, independent, and beyond everything. It moves eternally, guiding each moment with its purpose. Relying only on natural knowledge can lead you to stumble in the darkness of ignorance, but relying solely on supernatural knowledge can lead to an even deeper darkness. These two paths, natural and supernatural knowledge, offer different outcomes. The wise have taught us this truth clearly. Those who understand and distinguish between them will use natural knowledge to safely navigate the material world, while supernatural knowledge will lead them beyond to eternal life. Place your trust in the essence of nature and you will stumble through the darkness of ignorance. Place your trust in the external forms of nature and you will stumble through an even deeper darkness. The essence of nature leads to one outcome and its external forms lead to another. The wise have taught us this distinction clearly. Those who can differentiate between the essence and the forms of nature will, through the first, safely cross the realm of the perishable, and, by going beyond the second, reach eternal life. They have sealed the truth, like placing a golden stopper on a bottle. Pull it, Lord, release reality. I am filled with yearning. You are the protector, the seer, the one who controls all things, the source and sustainer of life. Do not let the light be wasted. Gather it and let me see your divine presence, Lord of all. I am one with you. As life merges into the eternal and the body returns to dust, let the mind meditate on the eternal spirit and recall past deeds. Mind, remember your deeds. Remember, mind, remember. Holy light, guide the way so we may harvest the good we have sown. You know our deeds. Help us stay true and not stray from the path as we kneel and pray again and again. O speech, eyes, ears, limbs, life and energy, come to my aid. I vow never to deny the Spirit, nor let the Spirit deny me. May I be united with the Spirit. When I am one with the Spirit, let these sacred teachings come alive within me, embodying their laws in my life. The seeker asked, who guides my mind? What ignites my life? What animates my speech? What power opens my eyes and ears? The teacher responded, it is the essence within all beings, hearing through the ears, thinking through the mind, speaking through the tongue, and seeing through the eyes. The wise rise beyond the senses to attain immortal life. The eye, tongue, and mind cannot comprehend it, for it is beyond all knowing. We understand it through those who have experienced and passed down this wisdom. That which enables the tongue to speak, yet requires no tongue to be expressed, that is spirit, not what stirs confusion in the world. That which allows the mind to think, yet needs no mind to function, that is spirit, not what breeds turmoil. That which grants the eye sight, yet does not depend on the eye to see, that is spirit, not what causes chaos. That which makes the ear hear, yet requires no ear itself, that is spirit, not what creates disturbance. That which sustains life itself, yet does not depend on life to exist, that is spirit, not what causes unrest. If you believe you understand it, you know little. If you think you have grasped it through your own studies or observations, think again. The seeker then said, I do not claim to know much. I neither affirm nor deny that I know. The teacher replied, one who asserts knowledge knows nothing, but the one who admits ignorance knows. Those who claim spirit cannot be known truly know. Those who claim to know it do not. The ignorant think spirit can be grasped through knowledge, but the wise know it transcends knowledge. Spirit is understood through revelation. It leads to freedom and power. Revelation conquers death. The one who finds spirit finds truth, but if one fails, they fall into lower forms of existence. Those who see the same spirit in every being cling to neither this nor that and attain immortal life. Once upon a time, spirit willed that the gods achieve a great victory. The gods, blinded by pride, thought they had achieved it on their own. Spirit, seeing their arrogance, appeared before them. Unrecognized, the gods asked, who is this mysterious presence? They sent fire to find out. Fire approached Spirit. Spirit asked, who are you? I am fire, known to all, Fire replied. What can you do? Asked Spirit. I can burn anything in the world, Fire boasted. Burn this, said Spirit, placing a single straw before Fire. Fire tried but could not burn it. Humbled, Fire returned to the gods, admitting it could not understand who the mysterious presence was. Next, the gods sent Wind. Wind approached Spirit. Spirit asked, who are you? I am Wind, the king of the air, Wind replied. What can you do? Asked Spirit. I can blow away anything in the world, Wind said proudly. Blow this away, said Spirit, placing the same straw before Wind. Wind tried but could not move it. Defeated, Wind returned to the gods, admitting failure. Finally, the gods sent Light. As Light approached Spirit, Spirit vanished. In its place appeared the beautiful goddess of wisdom, the daughter of the Himalayas. Light asked her, who was that mysterious presence? The goddess replied, that was Spirit. Through Spirit you have gained your power. Acknowledge the greatness of Spirit. Light understood that the mysterious presence was indeed Spirit. The gods, Fire, Wind and Light are revered as they came closest to understanding Spirit and were the first to recognize it as such. Among them, Light stands supreme, for it was the first to truly acknowledge Spirit. This story teaches that the light in lightning and in the human eye, the power of the mind to remember, desire and think, all belong to Spirit. Therefore, let the mind meditate on Spirit. Spirit is the ultimate good and should be revered as such. Those who recognize Spirit as the good are honored by all. You asked about spiritual knowledge and I have shared it with you. Austerity, self-control and meditation are the foundation of this wisdom. The Vedas are its house and truth is its shrine. Those who understand this will prevail over all evil and attain the eternal kingdom of heaven, enjoying its blessings forever. May He protect and bless us both. May we find joy in each other. May we face challenges together with courage. May spiritual wisdom shine in our lives. May we never harbour hatred. Let peace fill our hearts and the world around us. Vajrashravas, desiring to reach heaven, gave away all his possessions. He had a son, Nachiketas. As he watched the offerings being made, Nachiketas, though just a boy, realised that the gifts, old weak cows, were of little value. He thought, these won't earn my father much favour in heaven, so he asked his father, Father, have you given me away as well? After asking 3 times, his frustrated father replied, I give you to death. Nachiketas accepted his fate, thinking, it doesn't matter if I die now or later, but I want to understand what happens after death. Though his father regretted his words, Nachiketas stood firm, believing that a person's word is their bond, just like life and death come and go, much like the cycle of a blade of grass. Nachiketas went to Death's realm and meditated there for 3 days without food or drink. When Death returned, his servant warned him, when a holy guest arrives and is neglected, it brings ruin upon the host. Acknowledging this, Death said to Nachiketas, you've been a guest in my house for 3 days without hospitality. I owe you 3 gifts, name them. For his first gift, Nachiketas asked, let my father be at peace with me, forget his anger and welcome me home. Death granted this wish, promising that his father would sleep peacefully and love him as before. For the second gift, Nachiketas asked, "Teach me the secret of the fire that leads to heaven, for I believe in it." Death explained the sacred fire ritual, how to build the altar, and how it connects to the universe. Nachiketas absorbed it all. Death was so pleased that he named this sacred fire after Nachiketas and said, "If a man understands the nature of the soul and kindles this triple fire through knowledge, meditation and practice, he will rise above death and find eternal peace. This is your second gift." For his third gift, Nachiketas asked, "What happens after death? Some say we continue to exist, others say we do not. I want to know the truth." Death hesitated, saying, "Even the gods find this question difficult. Choose another gift." But Nachiketas insisted, "There is no greater question. No other gift can compare." Death tried to tempt him with other rewards, long life, wealth, kingdoms, and pleasures beyond imagination. "Take anything but this answer," Death urged. Nachiketas refused, saying, "These things fade, joy ends, even the longest life is short. I don't seek wealth or pleasure. Only knowledge of what lies beyond death can satisfy me." Nachiketas stood firm, saying, "Why would I, knowing that life is fleeting, choose temporary pleasures over eternal truth? I seek only to understand what happens after death. This is the gift I choose." Death said there are two paths, the good and the pleasant, both call to the soul. Those who follow the path of goodness achieve sanctity. Those who choose the pleasant path fall away from true purpose. Every person is faced with this choice. The wise are drawn to goodness, while the foolish are driven by their desires for pleasure. Nachiketas, you've examined these pleasures and turned away from them, escaping the endless cycle of life and death. You stand at the crossroads. One road leads to ignorance, the other to wisdom. You've rejected the illusions of pleasure and chosen the path of wisdom. Fools boast of their knowledge, proud but blind, stumbling through life. They are led by others who are equally blind. Obsessed with wealth and materialism, they see only the present. This is the only world, they say, not realizing there is more beyond. Because of their ignorance, I must kill them again and again, keeping them trapped in the cycle of life and death. Many have never even heard of the self, and even those who have heard struggle to find it. Those who do find it are a rare and wonderful phenomenon, as are those who teach it. To inherit this knowledge from a true teacher is a gift. No ordinary person can teach the self. Common minds argue and debate endlessly, but when someone with true insight speaks, the arguments stop. The self is subtle and elusive, slipping away from those who try to grasp it through logic or imagination. Beloved, logic alone cannot reveal the self, yet when a wise teacher guides you, it becomes clear. Your heart is focused on truth. If only every pupil could be like you. Since the eternal cannot be found in fleeting pleasures, I sought the eternal through devotion and found it. Nachiketas, I offered you everything, power, freedom from fear, endless pleasure, but you, with wisdom and courage, renounced it all. Those who meditate on God, concentrate deeply and discover the self, hidden deep within, surpass both joy and sorrow. The person who, through a teacher, understands the difference between the self and the world, reaches the source of all joy and lives in that eternal joy. I believe, Nachiketas, that the gates of joy are wide open for you. Nachiketas asked, "What lies beyond right and wrong, beyond cause and effect, beyond time itself?" Death answered, "The word that the Vedas praise, that austerities seek and sanctities approach, that word is Om. Om is the eternal spirit, the ultimate truth. Those who understand it attain their highest desire. It is the foundation of all reality, and those who find it are revered among the saints. The self knows all, was never born, never dies, and isn't the result of any cause. It is eternal, unchanging, and indestructible. How can the death of a body affect the self? Anyone who thinks they can kill or be killed does not understand. The self neither kills nor is killed. The self is both smaller than the smallest and greater than the greatest. It lives in every heart. When a person's senses are calm and free from desire, they can find the self and rise beyond sorrow. Though the self seems still, it moves everywhere. Though at rest, it travels all. Only I, death, understand that the self is beyond both joy and sorrow. Those who know the self, bodiless, eternal and unchanging, rise above suffering. The self cannot be found through argument, study or intellect. It comes to those it loves and takes their body as its home. The restless, those without focus or peace, cannot find the self, no matter how learned they are. The self feeds on those who are lost in worldly pursuits, who live for fighting and ambition. How can an ordinary person hope to find it? The individual self and the universal self, like shadow and light, reside together in the heart. Though they are beyond the reach of enjoyment, they still experience the results of actions. Everyone who understands the spirit, whether they live a worldly life or a spiritual one, acknowledges this. A person can ignite the fire of spirit, creating a bridge for those who make sacrifices, guiding them past their fears. The self rides in the body's chariot with intellect as the steady charioteer, and the mind as the reins. The senses are the horses, and the objects of desire are the roads. When the self is connected to the body, mind and senses, only the self truly enjoys. If a person lacks steadiness and cannot control their mind, their senses become like wild horses, unmanageable. But when someone controls their mind and is steady, the senses are like trained horses. An impure, impulsive and unsteady person misses the ultimate goal and is reborn again and again. A self-controlled, steady and pure individual reaches the goal from which there is no return. The one who uses intellect to manage the reins of the mind completes the journey and finds the all-encompassing spirit. Above the senses are the objects of desire. Above those objects is the mind. Above the mind is the intellect. Beyond the intellect is the manifest world of nature. Above the manifest is the unmanifest seed. And above the unmanifest seed is God. God is the ultimate goal. There is nothing beyond him. God doesn't announce himself. He remains a secret within everyone, but the intellect of the wise can find him. The truly wise lose speech in the mind in intellect in nature, and nature in God. This is how they find peace. Rise up, awaken, seek wisdom at the feet of a master. The sages say the path is difficult, like walking on the sharp edge of a razor. He who knows the soundless, formless, timeless, deathless, beginningless and unchanging reality escapes the grip of death. Those who hear and correctly recite this ancient dialogue between death and Nachiketas are blessed by holy men. Whoever chants this great mystery at the anniversary of their ancestors, in the presence of the right people, receives boundless good fortune. Death said, God created our senses to focus outward, so humans look outside themselves rather than within. Occasionally, a bold soul seeking immortality turns inward and discovers the truth within. The ignorant chase pleasure and become entangled in death, but the wise seek what is eternal and avoid the fleeting. He who enables us to see, taste, smell, feel, and hear is the self, the source of all experience. The wise, through meditation on this all-encompassing self, gain insight into life and death, and they transcend sorrow. By realizing that the individual self, the one who experiences the consequences of action, is actually the universal self, the creator of the past and future, one understands there is nothing to fear. This self, which existed before all creation, enters every heart and dwells within all things. This infinite power, manifesting as life itself, lives in every heart. It is the self hidden like fire within the wood, waiting to be revealed. The force that makes the sun rise and set, to whom all powers bow, this is the self. What is here in this life is also beyond. The afterlife is here and now. Anyone who thinks otherwise goes from death to death. Tell your mind there is only one. Dividing the one leads to endless cycles of death. When you recognize that the small presence in your heart, no bigger than a thumb, creates both past and future, what more is there to fear? That is the self, timeless and unchanging. Like water running down a mountain, the one who understands the forms of the self sees it everywhere. But the self of the wise remains pure, like pure water poured into pure water. Whoever meditates on the self, independent, pure intelligence, the ruler of the body with its 11 gates, grieves no more and is forever free. This self is the sun in the sky, the fire on the altar, the guest in the house, the air that flows everywhere, the Lord of Lords, the true essence of reality. He is reborn through sacrifice, arises from the waters, grows from the soil and breaks through the mountains. He is the power that fuels life itself. Present at the center of everything, adored by the senses, he breathes in and out through us. When this bodiless self departs, leaving the body exhausted, what remains? That is the self. Man does not live by breath alone, but by the force that drives it, another power that makes it come and go. Nachiketas, I will reveal the secret of the eternal spirit and what happens after death. Some souls return in new bodies, while others become part of the unmoving according to their deeds and knowledge. Who stays awake and creates dreams while we sleep? It is the self through whom all things live. Beyond him, nothing exists. He is pure, powerful and immortal spirit. Just as fire takes the form of whatever it burns, the self, though one, animates everything while remaining distinct. Similarly, air takes the form of whatever it enters, but the self remains separate from what it animates. As the sun, the eye of the world, is untouched by what it illuminates, the self remains unaffected by human suffering. He is the one ruler, the self of all, creating many out of one. Those who discover him within themselves rejoice. What greater joy is there? He is eternal amidst the perishable, the life force of all beings. He alone satisfies every desire. Those who find him within know peace. What other peace is there? Nachiketas asked, where can I find that joy beyond all words? Does he reflect another's light, or does he shine on his own? Death replied, neither sun, moon, stars, fire nor lightning light him. When he shines, everything else shines. Everything in the world reflects his light. The essence of eternal creation is like a tree with its roots above and branches spreading downward. It symbolizes the pure eternal spirit that exists in all things, beyond which nothing can surpass. This is the true self. Everything that lives and moves owes its existence to the spirit. This spirit, powerful and awe-inspiring, looms like a thunderbolt. Discovering it is the path to immortality. Out of reverence for God, fire burns, the sun shines, rain falls, the wind blows, and death moves forward. If a person fails to recognize this spirit before their body perishes, they must be reborn into another life. When a person reflects inward, they may recognize the spirit within, just as one distinguishes light from darkness. However, in the world of spirits, this perception may be distorted, as if seen through a dream or on troubled waters. In the celestial realm, it is similarly unclear. One who understands that the senses belong not to the spirit, but to the physical elements, which are born and perish, no longer mourns. Mind is higher than the senses, intellect is above the mind, nature is above the intellect, and beyond nature lies the unmanifest. Beyond the unmanifest is God, unconditioned and all-pervading. Those who find him attain eternal life and freedom. Though invisible and without form, he can be realized through meditation and self-discipline within the heart. Those who find him gain eternal life. When the mind and senses are at peace, and the intellect has finished its discerning, one reaches the ultimate state. Yoga is the practice that brings constant control over the senses, and when this state is achieved, the yogi can do no wrong. Before this state is reached, yoga feels like a struggle, a union followed by disunion. He cannot be known through words, nor grasped by the mind or seen with the eyes. Only through faith can one find him. How can someone find him if they don't believe in his existence? Trace back from effect to cause until you are convinced of his presence, then truth will reveal itself. When all desires of the heart are extinguished, a person, even while still in the body, unites with the spirit. The mortal becomes immortal. When the ties of the heart are severed, mortality transforms into immortality. This is the eternal law. The heart contains 101 channels. One of these, the Sushumna, ascends to the head. Whoever travels this path reaches immortality. Others are drawn into the cycle of life. The inner self, as small as a thumb, resides in the heart. One must strip away the material body, just as an arrow maker strips a reed, to understand him as eternal and pure. What can he be other than eternal and pure? Having learned this wisdom and the method of meditation from death, Nachiketas transcended desire and mortality and found God. Whoever follows this path will also find him.